I have not campaigned either for the presidency or the vice presidency. I have not subscribed to any partisan platform. I am indebted to no man, and only to one woman, my dear wife, as I begin this very difficult job.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? So here I am in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and you can see some of those Grand Rapids right behind me. That's really cool. I'm here at the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Museum. Now the museum is closed, but I'm here to visit the graves of former President Gerald Ford and former First Lady Betty Ford. And I'm here with Zach.
What is going on, everybody?
You've seen Zach before on my channel? Yeah, you've seen. Yeah. You've seen, you know Zach. It's Zach. All right, so we're gonna go show you the graves of Gerald Ford and Betty Ford. Let's go.
I'm gonna have to come back here. It's probably bad I've never been here.
So this is a gift from the people of Japan in tribute to President Ford. What do you mean? It's a historic 1974 state visit. It's the first U.S. president to visit Japan. I did not know that. There we go. And we're gonna walk right around here, and here will be the final resting places.
It surprises me he was the very first president to go
Yeah.
to Japan.
Yeah, you would think they'd be
Right after World War II, and you'd think someone would have went there.
Yeah.
It's surprising.
And here we are.
Mr. Chief Justice, my dear friends, my fellow Americans, the oath that I have taken is the same oath that was taken by George Washington and by every president under the Constitution. But I assume the presidency under extraordinary circumstances never before experienced by Americans.
Gerald Ford was born in 1913 in Omaha, Nebraska, but he grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He served 4 years in the U.S. Navy, and in November of 1948, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. A remarkable thing about Gerald Ford is he's the only person to serve as President and Vice President of the United States who was never elected to either office. In October of 1973, he was named Vice President under Richard Nixon after Vice President Spiro T. Agnew resigned. In August of 1974, Richard Nixon submitted his resignation as president, and then, one day later, Gerald Ford was sworn in as the 38th President of the United States. As well, from 1963 to 1964, Gerald Ford served on the Warren Commission to investigate the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. So Zach, you're saying this is 13 years ago, so you would have been 8?
Yeah, I think 8 or 7 or 8.
But you remember the funeral.
Yeah, I didn't come here for the funeral or anything, but I remember in school we were watching stuff on the news because being from Mesquite, which is 45 minutes down the road, it was a big thing because I mean, he's from Grand Rapids, so it was a really big thing. Yeah, I didn't come to the funeral. I just remember all the TV coverage. I think bigger news outlets came here to film the. I think they came. I don't remember what road they came down, but I remember there was a motorcade coming down one of these main roads.
Wow.
I remember the funeral was huge.
So you can see here the graves right behind me. Gerald Ford, Betty Ford. Being Canadian, I've said this before in other videos. We don't learn, or we did. When I was in high school, we didn't learn American history in high school, at all. There's world history, but it's all Canadian history. So everything that I learn on my channel, I read beforehand, or I've always had interest in American politics, so I've had to study on my own. So it's interesting to learn about Gerald Ford and Betty Ford. And Betty Ford, I remember the name so much from the 80s because of the Betty Ford Clinic. She did so much for addiction. She brought addiction in, kind of inspired, made it something that you wouldn't necessarily want to be ashamed about. And so many celebrities went to the Betty Ford Clinic, but really put a spotlight on addiction and saying that, there's a place you can go for help. And didn't make it so much that was, like I said, so shameful. Betty Ford. Oh, yeah. A bench for each of them. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3, 5, 6. Grace from the This sugar maple tree was planted by crew members of USS Gerald R. Ford in living tribute to their ship's namesake, July 14, 2018. And here's Gerald R. Ford's swearing-in address. I am acutely aware that you have not elected me as your president by your ballots, and so I ask you to confirm me as your president with your prayers. I have not campaigned either for the presidency or the vice presidency. I am indebted to no man and only to one woman, my dear wife, as I begin this very difficult job. Gerald R. Ford, swearing-in address, August 9th, 1974.
But the greatest rewards of Jerry Ford's time were reserved for his fellow Americans and the nation he loved. Farewell, Mr. President. Thank you Citizen Ford.
May Almighty God bless the memory of Gerald R. Ford, keep him firm in the hearts of his countrymen, and may God bless his wonderful family.
Gerald Ford's 2 years as president fell between the end of the Apollo program and the beginning of the space shuttle era. While he was president, he witnessed the first joint space mission between the United States and the Soviet Union, saw the United States land the first spacecraft on Mars, and was there for the rollout of the very first space shuttle. Gerald Ford attended the University of Michigan, where he played center, linebacker, and long snapper for the school's football team, the Wolverines, and helped them to 2 undefeated seasons and national titles in 1932 and 1933. All right, so that's it for our visit to the Gerald Ford grave. What did you think?
I thought it was pretty cool. It's crazy how peaceful it is over there because of all the traffic.
Yeah.
Like we're right in the center of town. There's a highway right there, and it's pretty quiet over there.
And that's a busy highway. That is a busy highway.
Yeah,
and it's
starting to back
really
up.
quiet. It's always I mean, you've seen my channel. I visit a lot of graves. It's always, doesn't matter where the grave is, it's always quiet.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how they built their surroundings, and that's it's gorgeous. All right. So
It was interesting. It was definitely. I live in Grand Rapids. I've never even been here, so that shows how much I know about it.
but cool to see, right?
Yeah, it was cool to see. I'm definitely gonna come back and go to the museum when it's open because, like I said, we're a little late. It was closed.
You could be a correspondent, film it for me, then send me the footage, and there you go. We can get some inside footage from it next time. All right. Peace.
Peace.